Check Pro Joe here on Check Pro Radio. Kevin Lips is joining me from Lips Electric. How you doing, Kevin?
Hello, Jim. I'm doing really good, man. Thanks for
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, it's so great to have you here as the expert in electrical on the Check Pro Radio show. A questions come into the program, and I know you have an answer to it, as you always do. Is my electrical panel up to code? This is a common question that your customers do ask you as well. What is the answer to the question?
That's a great question, and many homeowners are unaware that their electrical panels, especially older ones like Federal Pacific's a big one around here. They may no longer meet modern safety requirements. And as a trusted electrician, service provider, we're here to break it down for you.
Yeah. So the best thing to do is have people contact your office. You
Mhm.
guys will come out, trained technician, insured, licensed. You'll look at the panel, and instantly, I'm sure one of your technicians can say, "Oh, yeah, we know exactly how old this is, give or take. We know if it's a concern or not. And if it needs to be swapped out, it's something you guys can do."
Yes, and I'll keep repeating this forever that the electrical system's the most neglected system in a home. So, in specific to the panels, if your home was built before 1990, uh, and it still has its original panel, and you can tell when you look at them, but it's definitely time to schedule a licensed electrician to inspect it. Look for labels like Federal Pacific, also can be called stab lock. Those are definitely red flags. Also look for damaged wiring or rusted meter bases and panels. So there's two parts to the service to a home. You have the outside, the exterior portion that connects to the utility. A lot of these homes from the 1990s earlier have overhead services, so you can see the utility line connect to your home. Where it connects to the home, it's your responsibility. And that wire coming down, it's a gray solid piece of wire with gray plastic that can over time come apart and fall apart, especially with heavy sun exposure. So if you see any of that, rust is always bad. You should definitely call an electrician.
So our local electric company is responsible for what comes to the overhead, and then when it starts coming down that gray pipe or line,
Yes,
that's what you guys can help our listeners with.
correct. Yeah. So it's a good call out because it is where's the utility responsible, where's the homeowner responsible, and it is that connection point at the roof.
Mhm. I'm sure on a regular basis, you guys take a look at that as well as the panel. It's all very important, right? The utility company brings it to our homes. But like the plumbing in our home, like the appliances in our home, it's our responsibility as homeowners to have it maintained and or replaced. So let's get back to the panel again. The panel is very important. A lot of people may not even know where their panel is. Would you
Mhm.
agree?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's definitely true.
And would you recommend that they locate their panel and become a little educated? They can open up the door on the panel, which is safe at that point. I will say this: do not unscrew anything to get into your panel, that's too far.
Mhm.
So it should just clip open, if you will, and clip shut, most of them. And they're gonna see these switches, which are breakers, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
And those breakers are an essential part of the panel. Panel itself doesn't really move, but the breaker does move. Can you explain a little bit how the breaker works?
Yes, yes, and code has shifted to what breakers are required. So another call out is really anything built before the 2000s or early 2000s have old standard breakers that don't meet today's code. That also provide additional protection of GFCI protection and arc fault protection. But basically, it's a switch. Each one of those breakers is a switch, and the special part of them, what they do and how they operate is they can sense what's happening on the wire that runs through the home to the outlets, to the switches, to the lights, to the appliances. It feels or not, or it senses the amount of power. And when it hits the threshold, it will shut off right away. And that threshold means there's a threat. There's a problem. It could be arcing. It could be um, the ground wires touching the hot, and or it could be a faulty appliance. Some with the appliance went bad. So the point of it is safety. That's the whole point of what breakers do.
Sure. And, generally a breaker will break when there's too much pulling on it. There's a draw. So those wires that are in your wall going to your outlet are a certain size. So if you plug in an appliance, especially one that has an element or a
Mhm.
big motor, like a circular saw, you plug that into a lamp outlet, it's possible it could break the breaker, switch the breaker off because the breaker is saying, wait a second, this isn't designed for it. The wiring in the wall isn't designed for it. And you've reached the maximum of draw, and we're going to knock it off. That sounds about
Yes.
right, correct?
That's spot on, and another thing people don't think about a lot is when the breakers trip, it's it's part of its life has been used,
Mm,
and if it trips again, a little bit more of its life has been used. So as it trips, it will likely trip more, in the future. So it is if you have a consistent thing breaker tripping, it's worth having it looked at. And it most likely is like a hair dryer in the bathroom
yeah.
or a lot of times when people are running around with their vacuum cleaner and plug into a different outlet than they usually do, that can trip things too. But anything, like you said, element, heat is the biggest. And it's like when winter comes along and you're putting those little heaters and the into space heaters in different rooms, that's when the when it gets a little bit higher risk.
Yeah. We had a house where in the kitchen, we had the microwave and the toaster oven plugged into the same outlet.
Mhm.
We couldn't run them both at the same time.
Yes,
Too
yeah,
much.
that is very very common.
So we had a rule. You can
Mhm.
toast,
Microwave.
and we don't wanna get into that because possibly we probably shouldn't have been plugging it into that. Who know I mean, I don't even know what that was rated for, but that's a good example. If it keeps tripping, it's a problem, and I have heard what you said. The more it trips and resets, the less and less life that breaker has. And you shouldn't be using it as a switch. You shouldn't have to switch it back all the time. If it's constantly switching off, then you need to call lips out. All of Kevin's information is located in the description of this video podcast. Feel free to reach out to Kevin and his team, and they will help you out with everything. Once again, buddy, thank you so much for joining me, Kevin.
Great, thanks, Jim. Appreciate you.